What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here. I hope you're doing well wherever you're watching this video from around the world. It's been a few days since my last video, of course, after Arsenal won away at Leicester, thanks to Mikel Merino's heroics, his first time ever playing striker, and he came up with two massive goals for us to get us another 3 points. Now, of course, yesterday Liverpool dropped 2 more points with a draw against Aston Villa, and so our title hopes stay alive. And this is the focus of today's video. It's a little different than what I've typically done on this channel, but I figured why not try to get a sense of who's going to win the league, right? I've gone back and forth, of course, between despair and hope. That's what kind of season this has been, just so up and down. But I decided to look at all of Liverpool's remaining fixtures for the season and Arsenal's, predicting wins, losses, or draws, and then adding up all of the results at the end. So first, I'll say that I didn't do the math before doing each of these predictions. So the result might shock you. And second, I admit there might be some slight bias with Arsenal's results, and you'll see what I mean in a moment's time. So just know that I was equally as surprised by the end result as some of you might be. So stick with me until the end of this video. Now, looking first at Liverpool's remaining fixtures, starting with City this upcoming Sunday. I do think that despite how poor City is, they will turn up for this game and it'll end in a draw. Hopefully City win, but I think it'll be a draw. Liverpool then have Newcastle, Southampton, and Everton all at home, 3 straight. I think they'll win those games. They are incredible at Anfield. Fulham away is a tricky game, and I can see Fulham taking a couple points off them, so I predicted a draw there. West Ham at home and Leicester away, 2 more wins for Liverpool. Tottenham at home, I think that could be a tricky one. Tottenham does know how to, give Liverpool a game sometimes. Now, of course, the second leg of the Carabao Cup would suggest otherwise, but I think it's important to keep in mind that by the time this game rolls around, a few of Tottenham's key players should be back available, so I don't think that they'll be as injury-ridden as they have been for some time now. They then have Chelsea away. Chelsea's been awful, really, for a couple months now. They've fallen off pretty heavily, so I think Liverpool should win. Now, this is, where the main point where the bias comes in, right? I've predicted for Arsenal to win away at Anfield. Now, that hasn't happened in a very long time. So I think this is in part down to, my fairy tale storyline for how this title race could go, right? For Arsenal to take hold of the title race with a win at Anfield. We've drawn there the last 2 seasons, and we took a lead in both of those games. And I think we definitely should have won at least one of those games. We just struggled to keep a lead. And, you think back, for example, to that Gabriel Martinelli pass, what could have been. And it's not really worth too much holding on to that, but I think we can win at Anfield, man. Remember, by that time as well, it's very important to note, we will have Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka back. So make of that what you will. Liverpool then have Brighton away. I think Brighton can get a draw, and then Palace at home. They should win that game. So that's Liverpool's games. So that means I am predicting for them to drop 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 more points this season, with 4 draws and 1 loss. Now looking at Arsenal. West Ham on Saturday, I think we win. Forest away. That's going to be a really tricky game, and I can see us drawing there, so I've gone with a draw. United away. Now, we were pretty poor. We were very poor, both in the FA Cup and the Premier League at home against Man U. And I think Amorim knows very well how to set up against Arteta. You look back to the Europa League where we played against Sporting, and when Amorim was their manager, we struggled a lot against them over 2 legs. They knocked us out, of course. So it won't be easy, but they're so awful, and I think we can win at Old Trafford. Chelsea and Fulham back-to-back at home. Again, won't be easy games, but I think we win both of them. Everton away. Now, these are the last few games Everton will have at Goodison Park. Difficult atmosphere. They're looking a lot stronger under David Moyes already, so I think they might get a draw from us. Brentford at home, Ipswich away, Crystal Palace at home. I think those are all 3 games that we will win and should win. Remember, by this point already, we should have definitely Gabriel Martinelli back, but then hopefully Bukayo Saka back for at least some of those. Bournemouth at home, I think a draw is possible. You know, Iraola is an incredible manager, and whenever I look back now to our loss to them, you know, I was mad at Arteta for setting up so defensively after we got the red card. But looking back at other teams that have struggled at Vitality Stadium, you know, at Bournemouth away, you know, it makes more sense now. Arteta knows how good Iraola is, and he knows that we might have gotten a battering if we were going all out attack with 10 men. So, going to be a tricky game. Now, I've already spoken about this game, Liverpool away. It's in the cards, man. It's in the stars. If we can do that, that would be one of the most incredible stories of the century for us. So, Newcastle at home and Southampton away to close up the season. I think we win both of those games. So, I've predicted for Arsenal to drop 6 more points for the rest of the season, despite all of our injuries. And again, I will acknowledge that's maybe not so realistic, okay? But I'm now ready to reveal the final outcome here, okay? So I did all these predictions without adding them up game by game, and both teams end up with 86 points. Pretty incredible stuff, because of course it would then come down to goal difference. And that means that with Liverpool being ahead of us, well, having a better goal difference than us, we're going to need a couple of big results. I've predicted 4 Liverpool draws and a loss, to be fair. So in there, we'll make up some ground. But, we need a few big results, whether it's the Southampton away game, Ipswich away, maybe even, I don't know, Everton away or Palace at home, right? There are a few games in there where we can win by margins of 3 or 4 potentially. But that's how tight this is going to end up being. Now, my gut tells me we're not going to win the league. So I was actually surprised that this even came out to even points. And again, I think I may be missing 1 or 2 more draws or 1 loss for Arsenal, because I think it is going to be really tough for us playing without a recognized striker for as long as we're going to. But I was so inspired by Marino's brace against Leicester, especially because it was something that I predicted happening. And I think he can do a job there, man. He really knows how to get in dangerous positions. And if he's playing there more consistently, his reflexes, his sharpness in front of goal can also improve. And it was already really solid with that header and that, finish for the second goal as well from Trossard's cross. So, yeah, man. Let me know what you think. Is this entirely unrealistic of me? Blindly optimistic? I don't know. I think it's a little bit overly optimistic, but what's life without hope, So, game by game, folks, all I'm going to say is that I'm so proud of this team no matter what happens. My Liverpool friend said, no one cares, man. You win the Premier, you don't. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's about silverware, obviously. And we all know that we're reaching the point in this project where we have to start winning things. But at the same time, you think about everything that's happened to us this season. Yes, some of our injuries have been self-inflicted in terms of, tiring players out. But between the injuries, the suspensions, the lack of January signings, even though Arteta and Declan Rice were kind of begging for one, despite all of that, the fact that we're even in the conversation still is remarkable to me. And I love this team. So no matter what happens, man, just enjoy the journey and we go again. So yeah, I will be back tomorrow for my preview of Saturday's West Ham game, of course. But in the meantime, wherever you are, come on, you Gunners, and peace, everybody.